Yo, so guys, Zephyr here, and it's been a while. It's been a long ass time, but I'm back, and I'm here on a very special day. Dr. Ratio finally came out, and I won't lie, I heard a lot about this, character on my time off of Honkai Star Rail, and obviously I started playing again about 2 weeks ago, and so playing through the story and all that, I've seen him and all that, and he seemed alright, but from the videos I've seen online, people really hyped up this character, and I was like, come on, surely he's not that good, right? He's that good. I mean, like, he's actually insane, and he's free. He is a free 5-star, albeit you have to get to a certain point in the story, so don't get your hopes up too high. But I'm sure most of you watching this video, or at least playing this game, are pretty far in the story. So until you get to that certain point in the story where you can actually get him, they just give it to you for free. And let's just say here that, oh my god, he's actually insane. Now, obviously, my Dr. Ratio is not even built at all. I have no materials at all. I mean, I have not grinded in a while, so I wasn't really ready for him to come out. But it doesn't mean I can still make a build for y'all and show him off. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Alright, so this is a quick little showcase here. I'm going to use the free character trial thing. And first of all, by the way, I love how his main attack, unlike other people who use like, guns or, a scythe or like, weapons, right? This guy uses a book. He swings his giant ass book at you, which I think is already amazing. I think that's like the best thing so far about him. That he swings his book at you. And I mean, look at this thing. Like, look at that book. That shit will hurt. I mean, I wouldn't get hit by that, no. Anyway, so starting off about this though, his little technique here is actually a taunt. So you can just have enemies just kind of be distracted there as you just wander around, I'd say, and you do whatever, and they would just pay you no mind. And I absolutely love this pose, by the way, that he's doing. This is like perhaps a JoJo reference, honestly. Who knows? But yeah, so that's his little thing, his technique. It's a taunt, keeps enemies distracted, and obviously it gets you the opportunity to just come behind them and just whack them. Now I'm sure you don't want to read all this. I know I didn't, but I had to. So, Dr. Ratio, what's his whole thing, right? Every character has a gimmick. Dr. Ratio's whole gimmick is follow-up attacks. And I'm sure you think, oh, follow-up attacks, another Himiko, here we go, gonna be low damage, another Kafka, like, no. So, Dr. Ratio pretty much scales off of, obviously, debuffs. Whenever you go and apply debuffs on someone, so let's say, here, Pella here, and there we go, and then Japard in his eyes, we are building up these debuffs on these enemies, so let's say we have 2 right now, and if we go and use his skill, we're gonna see this number on top of their head. Now, this number or percentage is going to change based on how many debuffs you have. If you have, I believe, 3 or 4, it's pretty much a 100% chance. And then base chance with no debuffs is 40, which is funny because you think it would be 0, but you just get a 40% chance off the bat, even if there is no debuffs on the enemy. So, obviously, once you have your number, I'd go with 80, honestly, but it's really not hard to get 100. You hit E, your skill, and then the chance is that for him to throw that follow-up attack at the enemy. Now, if you hit it, you obviously see the animation, and then you're set. And let's just say, what was that, like, what, 20,000 damage off this from a follow-up attack? Like, that is insane damage. And let me just use, that, and then, ultimate here to get even more. Okay, so now we have about like what? Oh, only 2. Okay, great. It's still only 2. Obviously, again, throwing the skill out again, and see how we didn't hit it there. But if we use our ultimate, which is amazing, by the way, I love that ultimate. Just using the what is that? The Leaning Tower of Pi? Whatever that thing is called. Anyways, so once he uses ultimate, you now get that base 100% chance to launch that follow-up. whenever an ally does anything to an enemy, so basic attack, skill, as long as we hit the enemy as an ally, he will throw up that follow attack for 2 turns. Or 2 times, I suppose. So obviously with Pele here, that's 1. He throws it out. And then with Japard, that's 2. So you may be wondering, how do you kind of prep the enemy for max DPS here? Now, really simple rotation. You want Dr. Ratio to go last. You do not want him to go first, because if you make him go first, then you're going to absolutely ruin his DPS by having no debuffs on the enemies yet. So make sure if you're trying to build, or when you are, obviously I'll get into this later, but just a heads up now, you don't really want to build that much speed on him, because you don't want him going before everybody else. That's going to absolutely tank your damage. You want people to prep the enemy. You want your primers, right? So you want your allies to do hella debuffs on these enemies, then for him to get his turn and then get that maximum DPS. But anyway, so rotation here. Obviously, get your allies to put debuffs. Use E. Hope you hit it and have a higher chance than I did. Obviously, you want to get that ideal 100%. So you get that first follow-up attack. Then just keep doing that until you get your ultimate. Pop that ultimate. And then just get that free damage and just keep doing whatever. Just basic attack, skills, whatever. Just get that damage out. And Dr. Ratio will be going pretty much every turn based on that. It truly is nice. Just having him go at it like that. So now that we've gone over his, gameplay and all that and how he actually works, we can dive deeper into his traces. And now this is the main one I want to talk about right here is deduction. So whenever you're dealing damage to a target that has 3 or more debuffs, for each debuff that the target has, Dr. Ratio's damage goes up by 10% to cap out at 50% more damage. See, now this is just like absolutely insane to have. I mean, like it's honestly, it seems kind of unfair. Because, I mean, that's a free 50% more damage, right? And his whole kit pretty much rotates or, is needed based off of these debuffs, right? So you're going to be debuffing the enemy. Like that is going to be your main thing while using Dr. Ratio. So the fact that you can get a free 50% more damage just by doing what's meant to pretty much doing how the character is meant to be played, like setting him up for this big damage. It's absolutely insane. Like it really is. And I also hope that this guy scales off crit rate. So I mean, what you're getting already a free 5, 9, 12 point something, 11 point something, a free 12% crit rate, let's say, and obviously attack. And then, defense, whatever, but still, he scales, at least his traces scale with crit rate already. And then plus the crit rate you're getting from, the already crazy talent that you have. And it's not even talent, it's the ability. So, what? That's a free 2.5 times 6, 15% more crit rate and 30% more crit damage just from that alone. So then what? 30 then plus the 12, you're getting at least 40% or 45% crit rate off of your traces and just your basic ability. That is absolutely insane. And obviously interference, when skill is used to attack an enemy, there's a 100% chance to reduce the attack target's effect res by 10% for 2 turns. So it's absolutely insane how good this character is just from traces and gameplay alone, right? Now I'm sure, results may vary based on how you roll your talents and all that, or your relics, sorry. And talking about relics here, you're going, Ash Blazing Grand Duke here for the increased follow-up damage. And then, even more attack based on every time you do a follow-up attack. Now, I was kind of thinking about, oh, well, maybe you could do like a 2-piece, you know, Ash Blazing, and then, you know, 2-piece Wastelander. But I won't lie, or even maybe a full-piece Wastelander for that more crit rate and more crit damage. But you don't really imprison enemies as Dr. Ratio, and if you do, it's not gonna be for a long time. So I don't really suggest the whole 4-piece on Dr. Ratio, and with the whole 2-piece sets, I mean, it doesn't. Obviously, it's up to you. If you really want that extra 10% imaginary damage, but I don't really think it's worth it. Like it's 10%, right? Which, I mean, it's a lot. I mean, I guess it's average, you know. I mean, some people may think it's big, but it's alright. But I just think that, you know, 4-piece set of Ash Blazing is better. If you really do want that, you know, big damage on your follow-up attacks, that's where to keep scaling with this 6%, then I say go with this. And you'll be pretty much happy, I'd say. Alright, so we're back at the relics here. I totally forgot to go over like what main like stats to go on and all that. So obviously for your chest piece, you can go either crit damage or crit rate, depending on what you need or what you have most of the time. Again, you're gonna have a lot of both, so it's a matter of, do you like to crit more often per crit or crit less, or do you like to crit less often per crit for more? So it's up to you on that. Crit damage or crit rate, you could pick one. And on boots, go for attack, do not go for speed. Again, I've said this a million times already, but you do not want speed on this character, or at least not a lot of speed. It's gonna absolutely tank your damage because you go before your teammates, and the whole point is for your teammates to prep you for big damage. So don't go speed. Now for your, you know, your spear and your link rope, I want to absolutely butcher this name, but go Inerit Salisoto. Go this one for crit rate, and this whenever your crit rate reaches 50% or more, you get that ultimate and follow-up damage attack increased by 50%. So I guess if you don't have enough crit rate to reach this 50%, go crit rate on your chest piece here. And obviously on your link rope, you can go either energy recharge rate for more of that ultimate spam, or if you feel like just doing more damage in general, you can go attack. So either or, pick your favorite. And yeah. Now for teams, this is going to be really subjective for people because I'll be honest with you, I don't really run a lot of different teams. I mean, if you can see, all of my teams have something similar, mostly these two. And so, you know, I don't really run different teams, but I will try to kind of branch out here and explain to you how the different team comps you can run. Now, obviously, basic one here for me being is just, you know, obviously him. We can go a basic shielder, so let's say Japard here, if I can find him. Basic healer, I always run Natasha, best girl by the way. And your choice of debuffer, honestly, you can either go Silver Wolf, you can go Pell. It's honestly up to you. Just anybody who really debuffs hella, you can pretty much run. You can even run Ruin Mei if you want to be brave. You can go Ruin Mei and then actually switch out your healer for, let's say, I don't know, Pella, or, you know, another, even actually Silver Wolf. So you'd get obviously a shit ton of just debuffs here. And honestly, that's kind of the formula, I won't lie. Like, it's not exactly a hard thing to kind of understand. You'd want just to find your little, like, I don't know, your mix of people that you can just kind of have like a shit ton of debuffs on. And so then you can just really build up that damage. So it's honestly, it's up to you how you want to build him and put his up his teams. Just make sure that you have at least one person who could put like a shit ton of debuffs on somebody. Again, so Silver Wolf, Pella. Let's see, anyone else who does that? I mean, you can honestly even probably pair him up with another like DOT characters like Kafka here, because not only do the elements they put out also counts as debuffs, so you can really, like, you can make him either the main DPS or the sub with his, you know, follow-up attacks. So again, it's up to you. Just make sure you have at least somebody who can debuff and all that. Honestly, you can even run a buffer with him. But again, I'm sure you understand. We're deep enough in this game for people to understand how to build characters, right? Or at least have somewhat of an idea too. So I'm sure people don't need this anymore compared to like back when the first game, or when the game first came out, right? So I believe in y'all. Just make sure you have a debuffer. Make sure you have a way to survive. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Wow. Okay, so this video took a lot longer than I thought it would, but it just goes to show how much I'm glad to be back, and I'm sure hope this build helps. Obviously, if you don't agree with something with what I said or what I told you to do, tell me down in the comments. I would love to talk about it and think how to change my build, and hell, I'll maybe even update it in the comments to help spread the word of what I could have done better. But yeah, again, thanks again. I'm excited that Dr. Ratio is back out, or Dr. Ratio has finally come out. And I have a shit ton of grinding to do to get this character to be actual useful for me. So that'll be it. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.